I'm allowed to be free to be me base. And then you are consciously aware that there's thoughts coming and emotions that are badgering you, that are quite abusive, that are putting you down. And instead, what you can do is actually, when you are consciously aware of it, it can be just 2% consciousness. It doesn't have to be like, I'm a Zen master. No, it can just be a simple conscious awareness. What you can add to that is, I am allowed to be wrong. Hi, welcome to another episode. I'm Zaben with you here. What does it mean to be allowed? Now, this was one of the most far-fetched thing for me to ever conceive, is that I'm allowed to have my feelings, I'm allowed to feel sad, I'm allowed to fear failure, I'm allowed to fear success, I'm allowed to speak up, I'm allowed to be me in a sense. I'm allowed to be free to be me. And the reason I'm sharing this with you today is because I want you to give yourself permission to be allowed, and to use that beautiful idea of allowing yourself to do and be all the things that you've resisted, called bad about yourself. Like the minute it happens to you, start to say, oh my God, I'm not allowed. I shouldn't be angry. This is wrong. I need to always be right. It's so wrong to be wrong. And like putting yourself down consistently, which actually causes a crazy disharmony within self. And when we're crazy disharmony within self, we're unable to actually pay attention to the beauty of our day, regardless of whatever challenges are met, when our inner world is in more peace, has a bit more of a gentleness towards ourselves, of a refined conversation with self, right? Where we can say, let's say I'm like worried that I'm going to be wrong in something, like what I'm doing is wrong and it shouldn't be this way. The minute that happens, the minute I am feeling that frazzled, I can either accelerate it and go into worry and stress and anxiety by actually resisting that emotion itself, or that fear, and hating it. Like, no, I can never be that. And then there's another way to do it, which is simply look at that part. If you can be consciously aware, like if you can just bring some breathing space between you and the thought, and you can do that by breathing. Throat chakra. You breathe in, and then you breathe out. Oh. And that brings a breathing space. And then you are consciously aware that there's thoughts coming and emotions that are badgering you, that are quite abusive, that are putting you down. And instead, what you can do is actually, when you are consciously aware of it, it can be just 2% consciousness. It doesn't have to be like, I'm a Zen master. No, it can just be a simple conscious awareness. What you can add to that is, I am allowed to be wrong. I'm allowed to be wrong. I'm allowed not to know. Isn't that a big one? I'm allowed not to know. I'm allowed. And it's okay. And I'm going to allow myself not to know. I'm going to allow myself to be wrong. I'm going to allow myself to worry. I'm allowed to worry. That's another one. I'm allowed to worry. So what? The more I start to fight with myself internally, then I'm fighting with the world also, because I have no center and no alignment inside. I'm unable to embrace, love, and sort of hug myself during the times of my inner war, which explains all the wars that are taking place on our planet consistently, and all the pain is because each individual, every one of us, is actually holding that pain consistently within ourselves. And this is what shadow work is all about. And I'm going to explain shadow work in depth. Because once you understand it and the beauty of it, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it's a beautiful thing. And that's what soul gifts are all about. It's a major part of discovering your own soul gifts, right? The truth of who you are, your essence, and discovering your soul gifts, which is the thing I love to do the most, right? The thing that comes most naturally to me is seeing other people's soul gifts and knowing how to disarm them from their shadow self by embracing and loving that shadow aspect, because within it is the gift. It's the soul gift right there inside of it. And I think there's a video where I explained, this was 2 months ago, how it's like unwrapping this gift that you're scared to unwrap in case there's a bomb inside, and then you just discover that it's actually this beautiful orb of delights which make you feel so well-centered and beautiful and happy internally. And therefore your world transforms into a happier place to be in, because your inner world has found its harmony. So I encourage you to just stick with I am allowed, in which I'm allowed to be happy. A lot of times I felt I was not allowed to be happy. It would aggravate people. I'm allowed to be happy. I'm allowed to be happy. I'm allowed to be joyous. I'm allowed to be sad. I'm allowed to worry. I'm allowed to be all those things, because once I allow myself to be all those things, I can allow others to be all those things, and there's no more friction and war. There's no more right and wrong. It all comes down to our own personal evolution, our own personal shifts and changes within us, right? All right, I hope this was helpful. Take care of yourselves. Don't forget to subscribe, hit like, leave your comments, share this, because I'm sure there's so many of us in the world that are feeling like this all the time, and it would be really cool if they can just hear something that lets them feel that they're allowed to feel like this. I'm allowed to be overwhelmed. It's okay. And so it is. Take care. Bye-bye.